What's going on, everyone? Dr. Octane here, and it's another beautiful yet chilly day here in southern Wisconsin. Just about to the end of May, which means it's almost April, which it's getting really close to prime time riding season. So, a lot of people know that, one of the things you should do every spring is change your spark plugs. But one question I see asked all the time is, how do you get the tank cover off of the CFMoto 300NK? Well, it's a little tricky your first time. Well, once you know where all the screws and push pins are, it's not that big of a deal at all, and you'll be having it on and off in no time. So without further ado, let's get to it! Alright, so first things first, if you don't have a paddock stand, get yourself a paddock stand. It makes your life so much easier, especially if you're going to be doing your own maintenance, own upgrades, and all that other stuff. There's so many times you need that back tire up off the ground, and you need the bike actually stable and level so you can work on the dang thing without it falling over. So, anyways, get yourself a paddock stand. Don't really recommend the Harbor Freight ones for the 300NK because they are too short. They do work, but they don't work the best. So anyways, let's go ahead and get to getting this all off. First and foremost, got to get the two 5mm behind the seat here. I personally hate hex Allen bolts, so I've slowly been switching them out with flange head bolts over the last few years. But so anyways, once you get the seat off, if you look underneath here, keep in mind my bike's been down several times, so it's a little busted up. But you have a push pin right there. And you have a push pin right here. That one's currently missing on mine. And then on the front, we have this Phillips screw, and then you have a push pin here, and push pin here is the third one. And then you also have a 5mm Allen bolt that goes here. Again, replace mine with hex. Those ones there are a M5 by 25 if you want to switch those out. And the same thing over here. Got the 3 push pins, and then the Phillips screw at the top, and then your 5mm hex over here. And then again on this side you got the 2 push pins here. So that's how you get the main outer shell loose. And then tricky part is trying to get this gasket up and off the ignition switch. I actually just left mine off last time I painted it. 1, because I lost it, and 2, it went on so much easier without it. So the other thing that you will have to do is you got some these are M3s, but you got an M3 here, a 3mm hex there, a 3mm hex there. Take those 3 out, put the key in the in your gas tank hole, and then that'll all come out. So I'll go ahead and see if I can get this done for you. you got to kind of pull outward and back it up. Just put that back in there. Once you get the tank cover off, you take out the 5mm hex on both sides, and then you got two 10mm hex bolts in the front, and then this comes loose. It is easier if you pull these all the way off, but you honestly can work around it. But you got your fuel pump plug right there. That needs to come off. And then you also have the fuel pump sensor that you can get after you access it a little bit better. So to get this off, what you want to do is push in on the plug, squeeze the sides, and then pull out. And it comes off just like that. Now your fuel tank is completely loose. Put it off to the side. And bam, there is your ignition coil. So basically to get your ignition coil off, you have the little spring clip here, unplug it, and then you got an 8mm bolt there, and then the spark plug ignition, or the ignition coil will come up off of the plug, and then it's a 5/8 spark plug socket to get the spark plug out. Alright, so I'm going to put this back together. I just got that sitting in there. I'm going to snug it in place, and I should have put some oil on that gasket because that is a really tight seal on there. Get your clamp, put it back over the edge, hold that in place. So basically keep in mind these little M5 bolts are very not durable. So even with my power ratchet, I'm going nice and slow, listening for it to get torque. And I'm just barely bumping the trigger. It's not quite bottomed out yet. That sounds like it's snugged up right there. Alrighty. So, oh, and then to take these little spring clips out, I just grab them with a pair of needle nose pliers and just pull up on it, and they'll come straight out. And then to go back on, see, I forget. Yes, okay. So now to go back on, put your spring on first, and it'll just clip right into place. And then basically it's just reverse from there. Get your tank, get your back bolt on the rear support that I currently have out because I was messing with the fuel injector. And that filter is filthy. That's getting washed today. But basically what you want to do is just get your rear long bolt in the back of the tank, kind of lower it down and start wiggling everything back into place. And it's really not that difficult. Going back together is exact opposite. Exact reverse. Exact opposite reverse. Reverse opposite, whatever you want to say. Anyways, it's pretty straightforward. Once you get to this point and you know how it comes apart, it's pretty easy getting it all back together. So that's really all there is to it. You know, from there, everything just goes back together in reverse. And, you know, it's pretty simple, easy peasy. Just make sure that you don't over torque any of the bolts. Even if you're doing by hand, they stop just give it a little bump, and that's really tight enough. Just don't go snapping these bolts off, especially on the oil cover. Guys, it's the same bolts on that oil filter cover as it is on a lot of these trim pieces. So again, don't use a lot of torque. I've snapped them off myself, but I'm pretty handy at getting them back out, so that's a different story. Maybe next time I break one off, I'll show you some tips and tricks on that. So anyhow, that's all there is to it, guys. I hope this was helpful to a lot of you, and hopefully now that this is going to be on YouTube, people will stop asking this question and they can ask YouTube and find this video. So anyways, y'all have a great day and keep the rubber side down. Peace.